What's up, y'all? It's your girl Bridupre. I'm coming back at you guys with another video. Um, so I'm just gonna break down what's going to happen, and we're gonna go from there. I need to catch you guys up on a lot of stuff, and I need to get a lot of stuff off my chest, even if I get 0 views, 5 views, whatever. It's not about the views for me in this video. It's really never really about the views. Sometimes it is, but not in this video. I wear this shirt. The future is dope because I thought it's hilarious given what we're going to talk about today, which is my future and my past and whatever the case is. What we're going to do is, because there's so much I need to get through and I don't want to be scattered brain and I didn't write a script or anything, we're going to do hair in one video and makeup in another video. So this video is going to be the hair video. So my makeup will not be done in this video. If you don't like my face without makeup on, then you can just go to the one where I do the makeup. I want to do my hair first because I just got out the shower and my hair is still a little damp, and I'm going to be putting it up in the two ponytail hairstyle that I've done on this channel before. And so I want to get that done first. By the time I get on the makeup, my hair is going to be too dry to work with. And if you have curly hair, you know that you need some type of moisture in your hair if you're going to be doing different hairstyles with it. So that's how we're doing the hair first. I'm not going to go into detail about what products I'm using or anything like that. If you're interested on how I achieve this look, I mean, it's a very simple look. It's just 2 pigtails and 2 braids, but whatever. If you're interested in that and you want to see it in more detail, I will put the video of where I did that. I think it's called like my go-to hairstyle or my everyday hair and makeup, whatever. I'll link that in the cards if you're interested in like where I actually go into a lot of detail and stuff. So today we're going to talk about somebody I had staying in my house. Okay. Let me just turn. Did the lighting change? Ooh. Also, like, I'm right by the window. I've got my little mic. I didn't want to clip it on me because I didn't want you guys to hear, like, I didn't want you guys to hear if, like, I'm like, like the swishing sounds and stuff because I'll be moving around. So if I get like in and out or whatever, that's probably why. But I just thought this was the best option. Yeah, I don't know the last time we talked when I did like a get ready with me, you guys knew like exactly where I was at in life. But just to give you guys a rundown, I was a manager at a popular burger restaurant. Okay. And I mean, I liked my job. It was close to home, which the makeup part, we'll talk about that job because I no longer work there. And we'll talk about all of that in a different video. So if you're interested in that, just stay tuned. But I liked my job. It was close to home. I thought the people were cool at the time. And, I felt like I was getting paid well and all types of stuff. So at my job, there's like different levels of management, right? Like you can be, you have the general manager, you have the assistant general manager, you have people like me. I was an associate manager, which is 2 steps below the general manager. And then we had shift supervisors, which only like got paid manager salary and stuff. Like basically they were used like, let's say there's only 2 managers on staff and say I want to go on vacation and my boss needs coverage, then she'll like use the shift supervisors to fill in. But aside from that, they're like a regular role. So like, let's say you get hired in as like, I don't know, a cashier. So you're a cashier. And then once you're needed to be a manager, then you clock in separately, you get paid separately. So they're kind of management, I guess you could say, kind of not, depending on what your views are on that and whatever. So there was a guy there. We're going to call him, for the sake of this video, Phil. So there was a guy there named Phil. I didn't really hang out with Phil that much because I was mainly like the closing manager and he was like an opening cook. And when I had started working there, they had hired him, but he hadn't started training as a manager yet. So we just didn't really interact. We didn't have anything in common. Like I said, he was a cook. So yeah, we just didn't have a lot going on, like where I interacted with him. I knew him obviously because, I saw him sometimes, and I felt like he was a, an okay dude. I really didn't have a solid opinion about him, but that's basically the synopsis. So one day, we're supposed to look at emails and respond to emails and things like that. Well, I had saw an email on there about a hotel room for Phil. And it was like, so at my job we have this thing a lot of jobs do. They have this program where like you can donate a couple dollars out of your check, and then if somebody is in need for something, um there's like a foundation and you can apply for assistance. Like say you got into a car accident and you couldn't afford to fix your car and you were a good employee there or whatever the case was. You could apply for this assistance, and through the donations of your peers from their paychecks over the time, like it would help pay for like whatever situation you needed. This stuff is really weird. The fine shine custard. Okay. Um so I had saw an email, like I said, with a bill. Now where I worked at, there's a hotel room. Literally you cross the parking lot and there's a hotel room right there. Not a good hotel room, but kind of like one of those like motels, like a Motel 6 type of deal. It was one of those. So I guess he was staying there, and I saw her writing in there to whoever she was trying to get to help pay for this about how this guy didn't have a place to live. I wasn't going to bring it up to anyone because, like I said, I didn't know this guy that well. Clearly, it wasn't an email that was for me. It was just somebody had responded to it, and I was the manager on duty at that time, and I just so happened to see like the email, basically. So later on, different days, this guy's birthday had passed. And I overheard somebody asking him how he spent his birthday. And also he was talking about, well, basically he had been in a rock climbing accident, this guy. So he had like some health issues and problems with, he's like 80% metal or whatever the case is, your own little tumor rate or whatever the case is. So he had like his own like little health issues going on. And he was saying how his back was really hurting or whatever the case was, or he had to go to the hospital for something, and he was sleeping on the floor of a storage unit because obviously you can't afford to. Hotels are like $100 a night, you know what I mean? Nobody can afford that on a cook's check. So I overheard this conversation, and you guys know from my previous videos that I already had somebody else staying here before. So if you guys don't know, you don't follow me that much, I have a 2-bedroom apartment, and I use both bedrooms. This is my second bedroom that I'm in now that I call my beauty room, which is why it's so messy because I'm not in here all the time. But I also have a really big couch, and like there's plenty of space for another person to be here. You know what I mean? And at the time I could afford another person to be here because, like I said, I felt like I was making good money at the time. So I said, well, I'm not sure. So I overheard this conversation. I ended up talking to a fellow manager of mine, and she was like, yeah, I wish he could stay at my house, but my boyfriend said no, or whatever the case was. And at the time I was with someone who I'm no longer with, which we could talk about at a later time. And I was like, well, I live alone and I pay my bills by myself. My boyfriend doesn't really have a say in who can stay at my house, but I just don't want it to be against the rules. Because if you remember last time when I had this guy staying with me, because I was a manager and he was a regular employee, it was against rules. We couldn't tell anyone. So my peer reached out to our general manager and told her the situation and wanted to know if it would be against the rules for this guy to come stay with me. She said because he's in management, because he was that shift supervisor, that it was not against the rules and that he could come stay with me. So I offered him to come stay with me. Obviously, he was grateful. And this was in February. I want to just say it was the beginning of February. I think it was after Valentine's Day, because I think my boyfriend came out. I could be wrong. I think it was right around that time or something, because I remember me and my boyfriend went on a date on Valentine's Day, and I don't think that Phil was living here yet. So I think it was like, what let's say mid-February, okay? We'll just say like 3 months ago, just for the sake of it. So he started living here. And I told him, just like I had told the other dude, that you don't have to pay anything. I was fine with paying stuff on my own. I want them to get out of my house. Like, this is a temporary situation. If you're getting checks and you're spending $100 every night on a place to live, you're never going to have any money to actually move out. You stay here, you don't pay any bills except for like your phone bill or whatever your personal bills are, and then you get a couple checks and you move out. That was what my goal was. I told him he could stay here for like 2 months. That was what the goal was, okay? So things started out okay. This was a different situation. With the last guy, we were hooking up. Me and this guy weren't hooking up. I had a boyfriend, and he was definitely not my type. But you know what? He seemed like an okay guy. He was better than the other dude in the sense that I don't like people touching my stuff, but he would like clean the kitchen and help take out the trash. Sometimes he would help walk my dog. So it was like, okay, cool. He's staying here for free, but he's doing things that is contributing to the household. Just because you don't have money, that doesn't mean you can't do things that contribute to the household. So we were okay for a while. He did small things that made me mad. Like, for instance, I keep my bedroom door open because my cats will literally tear my door and scratch on my door. My cats don't like closed doors. I think this is the thing a lot of cats don't like. And like, I'll be talking to my boyfriend or be on the phone in my room, and he would like listen in on my conversations and comment on my conversations. One time I was home and I heard him clinking in the kitchen. I thought he was cooking because he cooked sometimes. And I come back out and he had rearranged or attempt to rearrange my entire kitchen. And I just feel like that should be something you should ask me. Like, I live here. It's not like I was at work or something and you couldn't ask me. I've been home. I'm literally right here in the next room, and I don't like people touching my stuff. Like, literally, I went into a full panic attack and had to put my kitchen back to where it's at, which is just, I feel like now looking back on it, it's just kind of selfish, rude, and like, you don't live here. This is not your kitchen. Don't rearrange my kitchen how you think it sees fit. My kitchen has been like this for 3 years. And it's been working out just fine for me. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate you washing dishes or taking out the trash or doing those sort of things, like 100%. But don't rearrange anything. Like, I don't go to your house, and I would never go to somebody else's house and be like, you know what? I don't like your TV here, so I'm just going to like move it and rearrange your whole living room. Like, what? Nobody does that. So anyways, as time went on, I lost my job, but he was still working at the same place. And I fell on some financial hardship. I ended up getting another job, but it was $6 less an hour than what I was making before. So obviously there's some pay cuts going on. And I feel like towards the end, he was lying about working, because he would say he had to work and then he would still be on my couch. Or he would say he was going to work and he wouldn't even be gone for 4 hours. So like, where are you going? Like, because last time I checked, the shortest shift, we all work in food, like him and me. And like, the shortest shift they'll give you in food is like 4 hours. Like, that's a short shift. So I don't understand how you're not even gone 4 hours, because you have to attribute to traveling time, which he didn't have a car. So he was walking or taking the bus. Sometimes I would drop him off. And then he had caught like another job. I just feel like he was lying about his jobs. So when I started getting into financial hardships and he was using up my internet, like going above how much internet I have. And I was saying like, well, it's you, because first of all, I was started back working and he had health issues and he had a surgery. So he would just be home all day watching TV. And like, it would be like excessive. It would be like 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. He's getting up just to sit on my couch and watch TV all day. Like, and when I told him that he had to start cutting that back because like, let's say this. So my internet bill was due, right? And he was supposed to help me out on it. And he didn't. Every time this man said he was going to give me money, he didn't. okay, he did give me money in a few instances. One time he's supposed to give me $50. I had to ask him 5 times for it, and he only sent me 40. Another time he was supposed to give me $50. Again, he only gave me 40. And then he was supposed to give me 75, and he ended up giving me 35. So in the 3 months this man was at my house, he only gave me a total of $120. And this is a man who, I'm sure he was a liar. I've caught him in several lies, and I've heard him in several lies, because he tried telling me once that he was getting paid $22 an hour to be a cook at that burger restaurant. But then on the phone, I heard him telling somebody else he was getting paid $16.50. And then allegedly he started working at this Greek restaurant where he was going to be making so much money and working 12 hours a day and be able to access daily tips that were over $150. But yet you never have any money, and yet you're always broke, and yet whenever you leave my house to go to work, you're only gone for 2 to 4 hours, not even 4 hours. So it's kind of like, I kind of like can tell, because if you're telling someone, yeah, he wants me to work 12 hours, 10 hours, I'm gonna get so much money, and then you leave and you're only gone one day a week, and you're only gone for not even 4 hours, like, bro, you're a liar. Like, you just are a liar. And when you live with someone, it's kind of like, just be gone then. Like, if you're gonna lie about working, which I don't even know why you would lie about that. Just like be gone then for an entire shift. Just like go somewhere. Like, I don't understand. Men need to be better liars. That's what the problem is with men. But I can go on this tangent for days on end. So, anyways, fast forward to last month. Okay, things are okay. You know, I'm not saying that he's a terrible person. He was a great temporary friend. Like, when I would struggle with my mental health issues or be stressed out about my boyfriend or whatever, like, he was there for me and would try to listen and things like that. But this guy, well, we'll get into. Sometimes when you don't know somebody for that long time, or you think everybody's a good, genuine person, they're not. And it takes you to have to take a step back to observe the behaviors that maybe you ignored before because you were so like, oh, it's such a good person, and they're so refreshing, and they're so genuine, and they're so real. But like, they're not. And he was definitely one of those, and we'll get into that. So fast forward to a month ago. I couldn't renew my lease. I had fallen behind on my rent because my rent was a third of my income when I was making money as a manager. And now I'm at this other job as a regular employee, only making $17 an hour. And I have a $500 car note and $200 electricity bill and $130 internet bill. And my rent is over $1,000. So it was hard, and I started falling behind. Well, my lease is up. At the end of this month, my lease was up. They offered me to renew. I was going to renew even though they had upped my rent over $200. And I was going to try to make it work because where was I going to go? You know what I mean? So they sent me a thing saying I couldn't renew. Well, first they said, okay, we can't accept this new lease until you pay off your previous balance. And I was like, okay. So I was going to try to do that. Well, I couldn't. So then they sent me this thing basically saying I couldn't renew my lease. So I was going to have to move. And I have to move by the 30th. So when I'm filming this, it's not the 30th. But by the time it gets up, it might be the 30th. Because right now I'm just pre-recording. So I told him what was going on and asked him if he could help. And because I wanted to pay this. Well, first I wanted to pay the balance off, right? So I asked him if he could help, and he said he could. He said he can give me like $600 or $500, something like that. And my mom said maybe she could help me, and I was gonna have money coming in, so I thought it was gonna work out. Well, you can't rely on Phil, because when the time comes, he acts like, what? I don't know. And or he'll say like how he said, or he'll say like he can give you a certain amount and it will be so much of a fraction of that amount. I understand things happen. I understand if you get sick and you call off work and your check isn't as much as you say it is. But for example, my electricity was going to get turned off if I didn't pay it by yesterday. Okay. And my bill was over $200. He told me he can give me half, which is over $100. Through there, he said he got a front on his check that only gave him 75. Okay, I'll take 75 is better than nothing. I had to ask him 6 times to give me the money. When he gave me the money, he handed me $35. So that's just a literal example of every time I've asked him to help me out in a situation, and he's like the only one working, and he can't even contribute their amount that it's not even comparable. $111, $35. Like, this is where we're at. You know what I'm saying? So I told him that basically he had to get out on the 1st of this month, because I was going to have to start packing and moving and all that types of things. And it's kind of hard to do that with somebody who's sitting in the middle of your house. And also, you're sitting here using up resources that I can't even afford to take care of myself. So I can no longer afford to take care of any extra things. You know what I mean? Like, I can barely take care of myself. So why am I taking care of you? If you can't afford to help pay for the internet or the electricity, then you can't be here, because you're using it up. You're creating, a bigger bill with you being here. It's just going to happen when there's more than one person, obviously. And if you can't contribute, then you just have to go. So he was supposed to get out on the 1st, and he was supposed to get his taxes, and he was going to go to this place, and he had a plan, and everything was great. Well, his taxes never came. I don't know what's going on with his taxes. That's his business, but he's just a liar. So who knows what to believe when it comes to this guy. But his taxes, never came. So eventually I let him stay an extra week. Now, mind you, at this point, I'm like single. And even when I had a boyfriend, it's such a cock block to have someone in your living room when you're an adult and you're trying to do adult things. Like, I don't want to know that somebody can hear me get intimate or be with someone in my house. You know what I mean? Like, it's already awkward. And now that I'm single and have to explain to people when I want company over, oh, by the way, I have a 44-year-old man staying on my couch, but like, don't worry, no one's gonna like set you up, and don't worry, I'm not like hooking up with him. And like, that's already hard enough to explain. Like, he just has to get out. You know what I mean? Like, he just needed to get out. I needed my space back. I just needed him to leave. So I felt bad for him. And like I said, we were friendly. So I let him stay an extra week. And then when he's here, I'm not allowed to have like my sister's kids for the night. And it makes sense. I understand why she feels like that, because he's a stranger. She doesn't know him. Her children are really young. Well, some of her children are really young. So I get that. So 3 months, I couldn't have my niece or my nephews come over. And I told him like he had to get out last week, because I was going to have my sister's kids and they were going to spend the night and whatever the case was. And then we got to talking, and he made me feel bad, because this is one of his manipulation tactics that I've caught on to, which we'll get into detail with later. And so I was like, you know what? Why don't you just, are these even? They're so not even. I was like, you know what? Why don't you just leave for the weekend, and come back, and then you can stay here again. Well, while he was gone, I sent him a text message and said, okay, you can stay here, but you're going to have to leave on Friday, which for me, Friday was, as I'm filming this, Friday was yesterday for me. So we had that arrangement, and he said, okay. So he came back, and the whole time, though, I think he was like trying to play this game, and I think he was trying to stay here with me till the end, just with the way he acted. Because if you're supposed to leave on the 1st, and I'm giving you these week extensions, and then the day of when that you're supposed to leave, now you want to make calls, and now you want to see where you can go, like, figure it out. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna put this ponytail in and change my battery because it's about to die. All right, so apparently the battery that was charging in my bathroom all night is not charged. So we might have to play a game of yo-yo here, but whatever. So, anyways, back to the story. He didn't give me a lot of money, whatever. He had to be out, right? So, where I'm going, my cats, I can only bring my dog, basically, where I'm going to go back with my parents, and they told me I can only bring my dog. So my sister was going to take my rabbits, and I was trying to find a place for my cats, because I do have 2 cats. So he's supposed to be out. I told him he had to be out by Friday, which I said was yesterday. And when he gave me that money for the electricity bill and acted like it was nonchalant, and then didn't even ask if I got a solution, because I told him that it was going to be turned off by by yesterday, or no, by the 22nd if I didn't get it paid. So you didn't give me the half you were supposed to, and you don't even care? Why? Oh, right, because it's not your bills and it's not your problem, and you're going to be gone by then. Cool. So I decided, you know what? He needs to leave on Thursday. I need a place for my cats to go. My ex reached out to me, not my recent ex, a different ex, reached out to me, and he said he was going to take the cats. So he came up here and spent a couple days here and met Phil. So this last week, ever since I started looking at him different, because I knew he was lying about going to work. Because here's what happened. So for the last 2 weeks, I have had no job. So I've had more time to really observe what's been going on in my house. And what's been going on in my house is Phil would probably lie about going to work, and say he would work probably after I started work. So I'd be gone from the house. And then when I came home, he'd be home and be like, oh, I just got here. So I think what he was doing was he was just lying about going to work. And since I wasn't home, I didn't see that. And now that I was home, I can see that when he said he was going to work, he would say he had to work at 3 o'clock, and it'd be 3:30 and he'd be asleep on the couch. And I'd ask him, he'd be like, yeah. Or he would go to work, like I said, and only be gone for 2 hours. One time he came back, said he puked at work, and then literally 2 days later said the same shit and had me pick him up from the hospital. And I'm sorry, who goes to the hospital for throwing up? I've never thrown up and been like, call me an ambulance. Whatever. So anyways, that's besides the point. So I started peeping this, right? I stopped hanging out with him as much. Every time we smoked, it was my weed. This man was just using so many of my resources. Okay, so like I was saying, this man was just using up my resources. And I forgot to mention, he's an ex-addict. He was addicted to pills. And also, I'm pretty sure he's an alcoholic. He tries to say that he uses alcohol to help with his daily pain, but he was just an addict. After he left and I moved the couch over that he was sleeping on, there was 10 bottles of Fireball, that was empty underneath my couch. He was an addict. One time I was cleaning, he was in the hospital, I was moving his stuff, and he had stole a bottle of wine that my mom had given me to make. I like to make chicken for sous vide or whatever. And it requires a white wine. And I had it on the top shelf of my kitchen. And when I was moving his stuff over, it came out of his bag. And I'm just like, so you are in my house and you decided to steal wine and then hide it? So I already didn't trust him after that. So I'm just peeping little things that he does. He's the type of person that wants a conversation to be about him. He's the type of person, whenever I bring somebody new over, wants to talk about him, wants to talk about his problems, wants to talk about his childhood, wants to peer pressure you into mixing alcohols. For instance, I had my ex over and we were drinking tequila, and he's pressured him into taking shots of brandy. So the next day, or whiskey, I guess. So the next day, when he's supposed to help me pack, he can't, because now he's so messed up because he mixed alcohols. Obviously that was part of his choice, but it was a choice that I know for a fact he was pressured into, because Phil tried to also pressure me into that as well. He just was a bad person. I don't know what else to say. He just was a bad person, and he probably is still an addict, because I saw some pills in his stuff, and he's just a bad person. So I forgot to mention that part, but I feel like it's detrimental to what's going on. Yeah. Are these even? I don't know if anything is even right now, and honestly, I kind of don't care, because it's not like I'm really going anywhere, but this is what's happening right now. I try to make them even. I think for sure my ponytails are definitely not even. And I think I'm just going to try to fix this one more time. And if it's not going to work, then we're just going to have to do with what's going on, because hello. So anyways, so the last week I didn't go to the living room to hang out with him like I usually do. I wasn't offering him to smoke with me. I was smoking my own stuff. And I wasn't giving him attention. He does things all the time for attention. Like for instance, I was in the living room the other day when I think he peeped I was mad at him. He ended up asking, and I just feel like it's stupid. You have to ask, like, yeah, I'm mad at you. You don't think I'm mad at you? You told me you can give me $111, and then you said 75, and you handed me $35, and I don't have a job, and you know my electricity is gonna get turned off, and you just couldn't care. And he lied. He's like, oh, I had to pay my phone bill, which is funny because 2 weeks ago when he gave me the $40, he said he could only give me 40 instead of 50 because he had to pay his phone bill. So is your phone bill due every 2 weeks? Because it wasn't like, I know like I have T-Mobile and I can pay my stuff off in 2 weeks, but it wasn't like um it wasn't like he had that. He bought like a prepaid card like at a store. So it was not even like that. So he just was a liar and I started peeping it. And then this is what really pissed me off. He had bought steaks on 3 separate occasions. He had bought all of these fancy cheeses, like the cheeses that cost like $15, $20. He had bought like prosciutto, like expensive stuff, and then tells me that he doesn't have any money to pay an electricity bill. And literally had so much stuff, and I don't even know why. This is why I think he thought he was going to stay here till the end, because literally 2 or 3 days before he was supposed to leave and that we had discussed him leaving on Friday, he brought all of this stuff to my house. So did you think you were going to eat all that stuff in 2 or 3 days? He just knew he was going to manipulate his way into being here until the 30th. He just knew he was. So anyways, it's a week before. I'm not hanging out with him as much. I'm being short with him. Like, I started doing things like playing music in my house when I want to in the morning when he's asleep. Because why am I being considered as somebody who's a guest in my house and isn't even acting accordingly? He stopped cleaning the kitchen. He stopped helping me walk my dog. And so if you're not contributing and you're not working and you're not helping financially, then I don't need to be considered. I don't need to be considered about anybody in my house. It's my house and I pay the bills. It's not like I have a roommate situation. We both on the lease and we're both contributing. So I don't really need to be considerate of anyone that stays in here. I was being nice as it is when he first got here, you know? And he just would do stuff for attention. Like I'm sitting on the couch petting my dog and he's fake sleep. And I know he's fake sleep because he just had turned the TV on like 20 minutes ago. And he wants to make weird snoring noises or act like he's talking in his sleep. And then he'll be like, hey, I didn't see you there. Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, okay. Like, you know what I mean? He would just do stuff like that. And I just want to reiterate the fact that this man is 44 years old. I'm almost 30. He's 44 years old. Okay, I just want to reiterate this. So my ex came, and my ex is already a wishy-washy person. He was like, oh, just come live with me. And he lived in Illinois, which is where I'm originally from. And I was like, nah, bro, like just see how it is with my cats first. And then maybe we could talk about that, because I already knew that I couldn't rely on him. And I didn't even really believe he was going to take my cats until I actually saw this man drive off in the car with my cats. You know what I mean? Like, he's that kind of guy. So Thursday, which was 2 days ago, I decided Steve was going to leave that day. Wednesday, I had talked to him and I said, hey, my sister's going to come get the couch tomorrow. So, you're going to have to get out of here. And he told me he worked at 8 o'clock and that he was just going to take all of his stuff with him when he left for work. Okay, cool. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning because Oreo was having some stomach issues and ended up throwing up on my floor and stuff. He was awake, surprise, surprise, running up my internet. And then I woke up again and it was 8:30 and he was asleep on the couch. So I woke him up and I said, hey, Phil, didn't you have to work at 8 o'clock? And he did like a shrug thing or whatever he did. Probably because I know for a fact he got drunk the night before. So he probably just didn't feel like feeding into the lie that he was actually working. And so you know what? I said I had enough. I was like, okay, well, my sister's coming today for the couch, so you're still gonna have to figure it out. And the day's going by. I'm telling him like, hey, make sure you like cook your steak, because he had the steak marinating in my fridge for like a week. I'm like, make sure you like cook this old ass disgusting steak or do something with it. I had put all of his stuff on one part of the fridge. I was like, here's all your stuff that's in the fridge. Make sure you take that with you. Really making sure that he doesn't leave anything behind. So I had to leave because I'm moving, and my mom came over to help me, and I had to go drop stuff off at my mom's house, and I didn't want to leave Phil alone. So I told my ex, hey, don't leave him alone. Don't take him anywhere, because I knew he was probably going to ask me to take him somewhere. Don't take him anywhere. Like, I don't trust him. Like, basically going in this whole spiel. So I come back and like we were going to do something. So I came back with my mom and we were going to do something. And I told him and I was like, I'll be back. It was, oh, I had to like help my mom with the vet or something because I'm using her car right now to help transport, because her car is bigger than my car, to help transport some stuff. So I was like, don't leave him alone, because like I have, my animals and electronics and stuff. And I was like, don't take him anywhere. I don't trust him, like whatever the case is. So they probably hung out for a couple hours by themselves. And like I said, Phil is a manipulator and my ex is wishy-washy. Okay. So I come home an hour and a half after. So I come home and I'm like, did we figure out when he was leaving? I told him like my sister was coming to get the couch at like 8 o'clock. At this point, it was like 6 o'clock. I'm like, you need to go. Like, you've been here all day. Like, I don't know what you're waiting for. I hear him making calls and lying to people on the phone. He called someone and left a voicemail saying he had over $100 worth of steaks that he can give her if he could stay with her or something like that. You had 2 steaks marinating in Italian dressing, because that's all you know how to marinate anything in, that had been sitting in my fridge for at least a week, uncovered. That's all you had. So right then and there, like reiterating the fact that he's a liar. And so I come back and he's like, I'm like, did you figure it out? Whatever. He's like, yeah, he's going to take me, talking about my ex-boyfriend was going to take him to, before he was living with me, like I said, he was living in a storage spot. So I assumed he was going back to his storage spot. So he's like, yeah, he's going to take me and with my stuff and whatever. So I come back. Phil's stuff is gone. My ex is gone. I asked him to clean up off of this dining room table, this living room table, the dining room table, because I had just cleared it off because I was moving it. And I come back, there's empty beer cans all over my table and shot glasses. And I'm like, what the literal fuck? Do you know what I mean? Not to mention the whole time I'm packing and cleaning, those 2 are just sitting in my dining room watching me. So I'm like, where are you at? Like, I'm trying to call my ex and I texted Phil, like, when did you guys leave? Because at this point, when I came back after they said that he was going to take him to his storage spot, it had been an hour and a half. The storage spot's only 10 minutes from my house. You should have only been gone 20 minutes. And I told him to do it right then and there, because I told him my sister was coming in an hour to get my couch. So like get it done. So I come back, it's been an hour and a half. No one's answering their phone. No one's texting me back, as in no one, I mean Phil and my ex-boyfriend. Like, like what the fuck? Come to find out, my ex-boyfriend just ditched me. He must have dropped Phil off and like went back home. He left his pillows here, and also Phil left some of his stuff here, which I threw in the trash. And I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. You guys were alone, which means Phil said something to my ex-boyfriend, which really doesn't take much, because like I said, he's wishy-washy, which is why he's one of my exes, to get him to not help me out, to get him not, if I can't find a place for my cats, I will have to put them in a shelter. Like, that's just, it is what it is. My parents are very strong on they can't come. Like, only my dog can come. My sister can't take them. She's taking my bunny. Like, there's a lot going on. And I texted Steve about it, confronted him about it. And this man literally had the audacity to say, and you guys know me, if I can, I'll put the, you already know it. Like, if I can, I'll put, well, let me see if I still even have the messages, because I might have, I think I just blocked him. So he texted me, let's just go over it. I said, when did you guys leave here? This was at 8:30, because it was like 7 o'clock when they were supposed to leave. And then I said, it would have been nice if you would have thrown your, old steak away and grabbed the rest of your food, because he only grabbed some stuff. He didn't grab all of his stuff. And I had given him a pen thing. So there's like, I don't know if you guys smoke weed or even if you vape or whatever, but there's like a little pen and you have the cart and you screw it on there. I had given him one to use, an expensive one, and told him several times that day to make sure that he left it here, and he didn't. And I told him that too. After a couple times passed by, I sent him a text and I said, okay, so let me get this straight. You lied and tried to manipulate for attention from me because I was mad at you for several days. I leave you alone with my ex-boyfriend who was supposed to take my cats. You guys get drunk and then you probably fed him some bullshit since he hasn't been back to my house since. And now my cats have nowhere to stay. You tried to bribe my attention with can openers. He bought a can opener, which my can opener was broken, and that's a whole nother tangent. Can openers, and managed to somehow you managed to grab, but conveniently forgot that you had steaks on top of my freezer. And next to them, you left your hat, you left your water bottle, you left 5 bottles of Fireball underneath the couch, along with your pills. And I said, I'm going to throw all of that away. I said, I don't want to talk to you again. I realized this week what kind of person you are, and I don't think it's a good one. And he said, seriously, bro, you use the shit out of me, but okay, you think what you want. He said, bro, you use the shit out of me, but okay, you think what you want. And I just want your opinion. So this man comes to my house that I pay for, sleeps on my couch, watches my TV, uses my internet, uses my electricity, and somehow I used him. He sometimes cleaned the kitchen, which, by the way, he cooked in the kitchen, and he kept walking my dog because I think he thought that when I was working, I would come home like 8:30, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I already fed and walked Oreo." I think he thought that if he was doing things like that, that I would keep him around longer. And while it is a great help, I do like walking my dog. I got a dog on purpose because I knew I would have to walk one, and I don't need anybody else to do it for me. It is a great help when I come in late and I've worked 10 hours and my feet hurt, but I'll be just fine walking my dog twice a day by myself, like I've been doing for the 2 years that I've had him. You know what I mean? Like, we're fine on that front. So I texted him back. I said, LOL, I use you. I said, you've given me a total of $120 since you've been here. You use up all my internet. You couldn't help pay for the electricity bill. Didn't even bother to ask if I solved that problem. The only thing you did was clean the kitchen and feed and walk a dog because you wanted to stay here longer. I let you stay here 2.5 weeks longer than you were supposed to help you out, but I use you. That's hilarious. I said, using my ex to give you a ride, and I said you probably said something to him because you're mad that you couldn't get your attention that you usually do, because I'm mad at you. I said you used me and sucked up everything, just like Frank, who was he was my most recent ex, which we can talk about that on a different story time. You tell me you can give me 100 and then say 75 and then give me 35. Meanwhile, you over here with over $200 worth of groceries and alcohol that I still had to throw out the remnants of. You couldn't even get all your stuff out of here. I see right through you and the fact that I let you stay here for as long as you did and not give me anything but the bare minimum. And you probably said some shit to my ex-boyfriend to make him not want to take my cats is absolutely ridiculous and just speaks volumes to a character that you are. You had plenty of time and opportunity to get the fuck off my couch and get your own place. And you decided to spend all your money on alcohol and food and things that you didn't necessarily need. I'm not saying that I'm the best when it comes to money management, but if I was living on somebody's fucking couch and I knew that the clock was ticking and I actually had a check, I would have been moved out. You lied about going to work. I know you're not working. You lied about everything. If it's not about Phil can't handle it. You need all the attention to be on you and your opinions. You say shit and wait for someone to ask you about it. I'm literally packing up my house and you still all you care about is you and only you and your issues. You claim people use you. You claim people use you, and if this is one of those instances, then no one ever used you. How the fuck can I use you? You said that you sat on my couch watching my TV, doing my drugs, not putting on for it, using my electricity, using me to ask you to give you rides and drop you off places, but I used you. You're fucking hilarious and delusional. The funniest shit I've heard all fucking year, I said to him. I said, I'm blocking you. Good luck living off of someone else's couch and lying about where you're working next. You think because he used to say that he stole. He used to say that he would get drunk and get real high and that everything that he ever brought here that he stole. Okay. I said, you think because you stole alcohol and gave it to me to bribe me into being happy with you, that's me using you? I didn't know this was high school where we spread lies and fuck up people's lives because our feelings are hurt. And I told him to grow up. I said, everything that you left here is going to get thrown out. And he also was trying to buy, so my ex-boyfriend, he was a bit of a drug dealer and he came over here with some stuff and he wanted to do it. Like Phil was trying to get him to give him something for free. And then he offered to pay him. He offered to pay him with the money that he was supposed to give me for my electricity bill, which is only $35. Like, come on now. So I said, regardless of anything, I let you stay here for several months. And the last memory I have of you now is you manipulating my ex-boyfriend into not helping me. And if I have to put my animals in a shelter for them to get adopted because I can't find a place for them to go, I just want you to know it's 100% your fault. And I'm only going to blame you this forever. So What actually ended up happening is my sister never took the couch. My couch is still here. I'm actually trying to sell my couch. I just wanted him out of my house. And when I told him that it was going to be Thursday, which I told him the Wednesday, the day before, and he was acting nonchalant, that day he was like, well, I know we discussed the weekend. We discussed Friday, which is not, I mean, I guess you can call it the weekend. But we originally discussed Friday as one day earlier. And I kept telling him, okay, well, it's happening today. So I don't know what to tell you. Like, so I told him, like, by the way, my couch is still here. I just wanted you gone because it is still here. And he did need to be gone. And I shouldn't have an excuse to get somebody out of my house there's like an aggressive fly in here right now. And my dog's trying to chase him. And I think it came into my balcony. So you might hear a loud noise. But yeah, there's like an aggressive fly in my room right now. So anyways, oh God, it's like really big. Get it, babe. Go get it. Anyways, I wanted to here it is. So let me tell you what I did, okay? Now, normally I'm not a vengeful retaliation person. There are so many times that people have done things to me and I have like just thought of like slashing their tires or punching them in the face. And I decided not to do that. I'm always trying to be, anyways, like I was saying. Oh, fuck. Where the fuck? Oh, here it is. Yeah, but there are so many times that I want to do stuff and I don't because I want to be the bigger person. Well, guess what? Not in this instance. No, I'm tired of that and I'm not doing that anymore. Honestly, I'm not helping anybody else out anymore when it comes to this. When I am back on my feet and I am back to living on my own and somebody's homeless that I work with or that I know, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to figure it out because now this is the second time I've gotten screwed over by letting somebody stay here. I'm not a terrible person. I know that I help people and I'm tired of helping people and nobody helps me. So I'm just not doing it anymore. And you guys can take with that how you will. But I'm almost 30 years old and the choices that I've been making in my life, I feel like have not been that great for me and the healthiest for me. And we'll get into that in another video. Like I said, probably in the makeup part, but I just need to make a change. I need to make a change all around. I need to be better at organizing and cleaning. I need to be better at my financial decisions. And I need to be better about the people that I choose to be around. And I need to have a better judgment of character because 9.5 times out of 10, anything good that I do for people that's not related to me, it comes back and it bites me in the ass all the time. And I'm sick of it and I'm over it. And I'm not going to open up myself to allow myself to be put in that position anymore. So what I did with this guy is definitely a retaliation. Like I said, he was staying in a storage unit. I don't know if you guys are aware, but it is illegal, or at least in Indiana, it's illegal to sleep in a storage unit or to live in a storage unit. I think you might have caught one. So I remember dropping him off and the name of the storage unit and the location. So I called them and I told them that he was staying there. And they called me back and said they rectified the situation. So I don't know if he was able to stay with someone else, but I do know that he's not staying in that storage unit anymore and he's not staying with me. And I feel like that's the karma he got because he saw me sit here and be stressed out and cry because I've asked literally every single person that I know to help take care of my cats for a couple months while I'm at my parents' house, and nobody volunteered to help me. Not one single person. I got my ex to come out here to take them from me, and you manipulate and lie to him or whatever you did. I don't know, because since then my ex has never answered a phone or responded to a text message. So I don't know what he said, but I know he said something, and I know it was a lie. Because they were together for a couple of hours and I know he lied to him. Thankfully today I have found somebody, a good couple that I know that is willing to take them. I'm not going, hopefully it happens. I'm going to go tonight and drop them off. I don't feel like they would flake. I feel like they're good people, but I also didn't feel like my boyfriend would flake. Well, my ex-boyfriend would flake once he was actually here, and he still managed to do that. So I'm not really an optimistic right now, but I'm kind of like see it to believe it. But as of right now, I have full intentions in a couple hours of packing up my car and packing up my cats and driving them to this couple's house. So I did find a solution, and I did message him and tell him that I found a solution because I won. I feel like I won. Was it a competition? Probably not specifically in that way, maybe more of a competition with myself and my self-respect. But needless to say, you guys, please don't be like me. Like, don't try to help these people out that aren't appreciative of it. Like, I don't know. I've slept on people's couches before. I had to move with my parents before, and I don't feel like I ever took advantage of the situation. I don't feel like I ever felt like I was obligated to have things, and I always had a plan on moving out of that space and being back to where I am now. I know that I'm getting down, and this year, odd years for me are just not the best. I don't like odd numbers. I'm an even number person. I was born June 18th, 1994. I was born at 8:08 p.m. Like, I'm just an even number kind of girl. And I mean, it could be a superstition thing, but ever since the year fucking started, it's been nothing but trash. I promise you. So, I'm going to take these 6 months and get my life together and I'm going to get a new career path, and I'm going to get a new place, and my animals are going to be back together, and I'm going to fix my car. I don't know if I told you guys what happened to my car, but it's messed up. And I know that I'm somebody that when they get knocked down, they build back up. I'm just tired of having to build back up. And I'm going to start making better choices in my life that won't slowly knock me down to where I have to build back up. You know what I mean? I'm going to just try to focus on consistency and stability and just being focused on my actual goals and not just being so blinded by feeling and dealing with the consequences later. It's something that I'm really going to work on the rest of this year. And when 2024 hits, I will be in a new place, and my car will be workable and my animals will be back together, and I'll be right back on track. But I just want to let you guys know about the story of a homeless man I let stay on my couch who was trash. So thank you guys for watching to the end. As you can see, my hair turned out pretty cute. This was a new product. I actually didn't use this in the last video. I think this girl that I was sort of seeing left it at my house, but I'm not seeing her anymore. It's Cantu, which is cruelty free, and it's shea butter, and it's the Fine and Shine custard. So this is how it looks here. That was what I was putting in my hair and brushing through, and then I just used edge control. This is literally the two products, along with a spray bottle that I have a concoction of water and conditioner in it. But this is literally all I have in my hair right now. This is a hairstyle that I probably keep in for 3 or 4 days, so I'm not that worried about it. But I really like how it looked. How that product looks and makes my curls look. So that's pretty cool. So like I said, subscribe to this channel. The part 2 will be about it will be about how I lost my job. And it will also be about me taking accountability, because I feel like sometimes when all these bad things sort of happen to us, they just sort of happen to us, right? And it's not our fault. And it's because so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. But sometimes we do have to look in ourselves and be like, okay, that person may have done this, but what did you do to bring you to this path? You know what I mean? And I think that's where I need to work on is kind of taking accountability for where I am in my life. I'm taking accountability. I know I made bad financial decisions. And I know I'm terrible at cleaning, clearly, but just different choices that I feel like I make subconsciously that I don't really think about, and trying to put those types of things into perspective. So like I said, subscribe if you want to see that one. You want to see what I come up with. I'm just going to do an easy makeup look. And thank you guys so much for listening to me. I hope that your day and your year is going a whole lot better than mine. If you ever think to yourself something bad is happening, just remember it could always be worse, and I'm the worst that it could be. Okay? I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.